I think that sounds really good. Like, let's just hit that in quarter notes. Let's make jungle one-shot samples for that modern hybrid sound. It's really easy. The process is actually more of a matter of finding samples than it is making samples. What I mean is we take a break, any break. I have this James Brown break. I'll play it here. Okay, so we repitch it. And then I put it at 120. I doodle the BPM of the break. I put it in here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use this tempo to find sounds. Let's take this way down. First, let's get some like some jungle tops. That one. There's one sample we can save for later. Just call it like jungle top. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to select all of these. I'm going to change the stretching mode. Now we have access to all these sounds. Cyclic. I like this one. Cool stuff. We can repitch it if we want. But instead, I'm just going to put it like that. Okay, I found just some rhythm. And then we got this. Together we have. If you're looking for tonal jungle top hits, I think this is the best way to do it. Like if you want bongos and then something to go with a bongo, this sounds really nice with a bongo. Okay? And then endless variation too. So if you're just trying to make a bunch of samples, just keep changing the stretching mode. And every breakbeat is different. That's why we're finding the samples. We're not just making the samples. Once we start to repitch different breakbeats, we're going to get different sounds. It's not like you just call it quits at one breakbeat. If you ask me, the best part of jungle is the snare. Many would agree. Let's see. We're going to put this back at 120. We're going to grab a snare. Grab another audio track. We're going to pitch this snare down just till we find a tone we like, really. Using the tempo, we're choosing our color and our tone and our pitch. I like that. That sounds perfect. So let's drag this here. Boppy's new snare. So here's the hi-hat. Let's line it up a little better. They're both coming out about 12, so let's just take a little bit out of that. Sounds good. The original hit together without. What if we leave the hi-hat in? Yeah, that sounds good. I don't usually process these samples until I'm like making music. Maybe some EQing. And here's our new jungle snare. No compression, no distortion, just the same snare pitched up with the repitch on your DAW. I think it's a strong snare compared to just the original. With jungle, you want this high-end presence that's going to make people put their hands in the air. Like, that's where the hype is. And it's a very specific kind of energy. Just play with breaks like I am now, and as I said, find samples. A very easy kind of sample to find is a vocal shot. You know the think break with the woo and the hey. We also have the cold sweat break, which is going to have stuff like... It doesn't have to sound like a 165 repitch. But it does usually sound better in the higher range when you clear room for the bass. Check that out. We got vibe, instant vibe. Lastly, let's talk about crashes. There's crashes everywhere, and you can put the crash on the kick drum to make people put their hands in the air. So let's find a crash with the kick. So maybe in the middle of a track, you could just replace your kick with the crash, and you know it will work because there's a kick drum in the crash. You don't always need a crash with a kick, though. I just like straight rides without a kick a lot. So we'll use that one. And then we'll take the most famous, well-known crash of all, which exists at 138-ish. Here's the crash. See the kick right there and the crash. And then the same thing. Now we can add just a little bit of texture to the crash, something to make it interesting and to make people go, wow, that was different for an Amen crash compared to what I just heard 5 minutes ago and what I'm going to hear in another 5 minutes. And then we have this. 15, 12. So I'm going to turn the Amen down. Hopefully pour it out. You can actually get some good texture from that hit. Let's see what happens. Yeah, because I think there's another hit there. Okay, so I repitched the James Brown break. When you do change the tempo, they do shift around a bit. I think that sounds really good. Like, let's just hit that in quarter notes. You could take these out if you want. I think it adds some texture, though. It's more like a shh, 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 than a ch, ch, ch. I think it contributes with what the Amen is doing really well. Like, it doesn't sound like a hi-hat. And then what would we do besides group these together, bounce them out, and there we go. We have a crash sample. This is our crash now. Don't do this. Not till you're making the music. If you were to fade it, bounce it out, save it, you'd lose all that information. You want that. That's what you want to save. Lastly, let's level up your snare stretching. Let's go into the snare, solo it out. Here we go. It's a snare we just made. Stretch it. I like to stretch from cyclic. So grab the start, pull a long tail, however long you need, really. Let's just, there's a sound. Let's make it longer. So that's our snare stretch. We're going to add a marker somewhere in the middle, wherever you want, and we're going to shorten it. Now we have a body. And then you can make like a bunch of snares with just the one snare sample, right? Like if you're trying to generate a bunch of samples for later, we have that, we have that, we have that, we have that, and that's it. When stretching your snares, think body and tail instead of just stretched tail, and then you have a bunch of sounds. Okay, that's it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, download these breaks. These are the best breaks you will find. I guarantee it. I just found these today and they're a game changer. Like I already have amens, I have hot pants, but these are the cleanest, most untouched versions I have ever found. Nice stuff.